Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so if you're staring down at a sleek, super expensive stove that is flat out refusing to boil water for your pasta right now, well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to take all that frustration and turn it into a super clear, actionable diagnostic journey using the absolute latest appliance repair data.
Now, right off the bat, before you panic and start running the numbers on a crazy expensive repair, just take a deep breath. Our sources, which include some fantastic data from Cooktop Hunter, reveal something honestly kind of shocking. Get this. A massive 78% of not heating service calls, they aren't actually broken appliances at all. Basically, 4 out of 5 times, your cooktop is perfectly fine and the fix is literally $0.
So to get you cooking again, we're following a really simple triage to treatment arc today. We'll hit the magic of induction, run through a 60-second triage, decode those weird error codes, recognize actual hardware failures, and finally figure out whether you should repair or replace it.
All right, part 1, the magic of induction and how it actually works. Let's figure out exactly why your cooktop might be just outright rejecting your favorite pan.
So, unlike your typical gas or traditional electric stoves that generate heat and then push it into your pot, induction tech relies entirely on ferromagnetic properties. It's wild, really. The cooktop generates this oscillating magnetic field, and if you put a compatible pan on it, that field induces heat directly inside the base of the cookware itself. So the glass isn't cooking the food at all. Your pan literally becomes the heating element.
And, this perfectly explains that great divide in your kitchen cabinets. Stuff like cast iron, carbon steel, and certain stainless steels that have a magnetic disc, they couple with that magnetic field and will heat up in seconds. But pure copper, aluminum, glass, ceramic, the magnetic field just totally ignores them. It leaves your food stone cold. So the cooktop isn't broken. It's just being smart and refusing to waste energy on the wrong materials.
Moving right along to part 2, the 60-second triage. These are the safe checks you can do right now before making any calls.
Okay, let's see how you can join that 78% of totally free fixes right now. First up, the classic magnet test. If a regular fridge magnet sticks firmly to the bottom of your pan, you're good to go. Second, make sure your pan is actually large enough. Standard heating zones usually need a pan that's at least 4.7 inches wide, and it really needs to be perfectly centered over the coil. Third, look for a child lock icon. Usually you just got to hold that button down for 3 to 5 seconds to unlock the whole interface. And finally, if all else fails, just do a safe power reset. Flip off the circuit breaker for 60 seconds to clear out any temporary logic hiccups.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the touch panel itself. These controls are capacitive, exactly like the screen on your smartphone. So a spilled liquid, or even just a tiny smudge of dried sugar, can bridge those sensor pads. When that happens, the cooktop basically thinks a finger is permanently pressing down on it, and boom, it triggers a safety lockout. Honestly, sometimes all you need to do is wipe the glass completely dry with a microfiber cloth to bring the whole thing back to life.
Part 3, decoding common error codes. Because if that quick triage didn't work and the glass is clean, your cooktop is probably trying to talk to you. Let's translate.
Think of this as your ultimate diagnostic cheat sheet. Across big brands like Bosch, Miele, and GE, you've got harmless codes like F, U, or E0. That just means, hey, I don't see a valid pan. E1 or F1 means the unit triggered its overheat protection, so just let it cool down and double-check that your cabinet vents aren't blocked up. But if you start seeing an E6 or F6, that indicates an internal power module or inverter fault, and yeah, that is your cue that it's time to call in a professional.
All right, part 4, recognizing hardware failures. This brings us to the serious stuff. How to identify an actual hardware disease rather than just a harmless symptom.
So if you run into any of these severe warning signs, you've got a verified hardware failure on your hands. If one specific heating zone is totally dead while the others work fine, or if the display is just completely unresponsive even after a power cycle, yeah, internal components have failed. But most importantly, and please listen to this, if you see a visible crack in the glass, if you catch a burning electrical smell, or if your circuit breaker trips repeatedly when you try to use it, you have got to stop using the unit immediately to avoid any electrical hazards.
When one specific heating zone just completely dies, the most common culprit inside the unit is a failed IGBT. That stands for insulated gate bipolar transistor. Basically, it's a high-voltage, high-efficiency electronic switch tucked inside the power inverter module. When that switch fails, the energy delivery to that specific induction coil just stops completely. Testing and replacing this little guy requires a professional using a multimeter, mostly because we're dealing with some highly dangerous, hazardous voltages here. And hey, before you even think about grabbing your toolkit, we really need to set some strict safety boundaries. Do not, under any circumstances, open the cooktop housing or remove panels yourself. Do not repeatedly reset a tripping breaker. That's a critical warning sign, not a routine fix. Also, skip those cheap converter plates that claim to make your non-magnetic pans work. They can cause some seriously unsafe heating issues. And never, ever ignore sparks or burning smells. We leave the electrical testing and the glass removal entirely to the pros.
Which brings us to part 5, repair or replace. Once you've done the triage and you know a major internal part is genuinely busted, how do you actually decide if it's worth fixing? You're probably wondering right now, should I just rip this thing out, head to the store, and buy a brand new one? Well, it's tricky. As our data from Volt and Vector appliance repair shows, the financial framework for induction cooktops is incredibly unique compared to pretty much any other appliance in your kitchen.
Usually, standard appliance industry wisdom tells us to use the 50% rule. The logic goes, if a repair quote costs more than half the price of a brand new unit, just buy the new one. Makes sense, right? Well, actually, scratch that. That formula ignores a massive, hidden cost that is super specific to built-in cooktops.
Here's the catch. Because cutout dimensions vary slightly by brand, and even by model year, replacing an old cooktop with a new one usually means the hole in your counter is going to be the wrong size. If you've got marble, quartz, or granite in your kitchen, you're looking at hiring a stone fabricator to come out and recut or build out your countertop. This hidden integration factor can easily slap an extra $500 to $2,000 onto your total replacement cost. No way, right?
Because of this extreme countertop integration factor, you've kinda gotta update your mental math. Industry experts suggest shifting that old rule up to the 65% rule. Basically, you should heavily favor repairing your integrated cooktop, even if that repair bill feels a bit pricey. The only real exception is if the unit is over 8 years old and facing a catastrophic failure, like a completely cracked glass top. Repairing it extends its life and, best of all, completely bypasses the absolute nightmare of countertop fabrication.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. Is your induction cooktop actually broken, or is it maybe just a little misunderstood? Armed with this new diagnostic framework, it's time to head into your kitchen, grab a fridge magnet, and go find out for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me on the explainer today, and hey, happy cooking!